I'm Emily, 62F, and I've been married to my husband George, 64M, for over 35 years. We met in college and have been inseparable ever since. Our journey together hasn't always been easy, but we've weathered every storm hand in hand. We have one son, Michael, 38M, who recently got married to his second wife, Rebecca, 36F. Michael has two children from his previous marriage, a 14-year-old daughter, Lily, and a 12-year-old son, Ethan. They're wonderful kids, and we've been very involved in their lives since they were born. Rebecca also has two children from her previous marriage, a 10-year-old son, Adam, and an 8-year-old daughter, Sophie. Michael's first wife, Amanda, was a lovely woman. We considered her a daughter, not just a daughter-in-law. She was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease shortly after Ethan was born. Despite the challenges, she remained positive and was an amazing mother. Unfortunately, she passed away 6 years ago due to complications from her illness. It was a devastating loss for our family, especially for Michael and the kids. The years following Amanda's death were difficult. Michael threw himself into his work and parenting, barely taking time for himself. We did our best to support him, often staying over to help with the kids or having them at our place so Michael could have some respite. It was heartbreaking to see our son struggling, but we were proud of how he managed to keep it together for Lily and Ethan. About 3 years ago, Michael started dating again. He was hesitant at first, feeling guilty about moving on, but we encouraged him. That's when he met Rebecca through a mutual friend. When he introduced her to us, we were hopeful that he had found happiness once more. Rebecca seemed nice enough, though a bit reserved. She didn't make much effort to get to know us, but we chalked it up to nerves and the pressure of meeting her new partner's family. Rebecca's kids, on the other hand, were quite a handful. Adam was often rude and disruptive during family gatherings, while Sophie had a tendency to throw tantrums when things didn't go her way. We tried not to judge, assuming they were still adjusting to the new family dynamics. However, as time went on and their behavior didn't improve, we couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between them and our well-behaved grandchildren. George and I are fortunate enough to have accumulated a considerable amount of wealth over the years. George had a successful career in finance, and I ran a small but profitable interior design business. We've always been careful with our money, investing wisely and living below our means. Our plan has always been to leave everything to Michael, and our grandchildren, Lily and Ethan. We never considered including Rebecca or her children in our will, as we barely knew them and didn't feel particularly close to them. Last week, Rebecca asked to meet with George and me privately. Michael was away on a business trip, so we thought she might want to discuss plans for his upcoming birthday. We invited her over for tea, thinking it would be a good opportunity to bond with our daughter-in-law. However, the conversation took an unexpected and unsettling turn. Rebecca began by saying she had overheard Michael and me discussing our will on the phone recently. It's true that I had called Michael to talk about updating our will, as we had recently acquired some new property and wanted to ensure everything was in order. I was surprised that Rebecca had been listening in on the conversation, but I didn't say anything. She then proceeded to inform us that Michael was unhappy with the current arrangement and wanted us to include Rebecca's children in the inheritance. According to her, Michael felt it was unfair to exclude them, but was too afraid of seeming ungrateful to bring it up himself. This immediately struck me as odd, as Michael has always been open and honest with us about everything. What shocked us even more was when Rebecca threatened to restrict our access to Lily and Ethan if we didn't comply with her demands. She claimed this was all Michael's idea and that he supported her stance completely. The idea that our son would use his children as bargaining chips was completely out of character, and frankly, unbelievable. George and I were stunned into silence. We've always had a close relationship with Michael, and this didn't sound like him at all. He's always been direct in his communication with us, never hesitating to voice his opinions or concerns. The thought of him using Rebecca as a messenger for something so important seemed highly unlikely. Moreover, the threat to keep our grandchildren away from us was deeply disturbing. Lily and Ethan have been a huge part of our lives since they were born. We've been there for every milestone, every school play, every sports game. The idea of being cut off from them was heartbreaking. We didn't want to accuse Rebecca of lying outright, so we calmly told her we'd think about it and get back to her. As soon as she left, we called Michael to verify her claims. He was in the middle of a conference but stepped out to take our call, sensing the urgency in our voices. When we relayed the conversation to him, Michael was shocked and angry. He assured us he had never said anything of the sort and was appalled that Rebecca would go behind his back like this. He had no idea where she got the idea that he was unhappy with our will or that he wanted her children included. Michael immediately asked us to keep Lily and Ethan with us until he returned from his trip and could sort things out with Rebecca. We readily agreed, and the kids have been staying with us since then. They were initially excited about the impromptu sleepover at Grandma and Grandpa's house, but they're starting to ask questions about why they haven't gone home yet. It's been a week now, and the situation has only gotten worse. Michael has been trying to reason with Rebecca, but she's refusing to back down. She's given him an ultimatum. Either convince us to change our will or choose between her and us. Michael is devastated and torn between his love for Rebecca and his loyalty to us and his children. George and I feel terrible about the whole situation. We never intended to cause any family strife with our inheritance plans. We've always seen our wealth as a way to secure our son and grandchildren's future, not as a source of conflict. At the same time, we're hurt and angry that Rebecca would try to manipulate us and potentially ruin our relationship with our son and grandchildren. We're at a loss for what to do. Should we stand our ground or give in to Rebecca's demands for the sake of family peace? Is there a compromise we're not seeing? The thought of losing our relationship with Michael and our grandchildren is heartbreaking, but the idea of being blackmailed into changing our will doesn't sit right with us either. I'm hoping for some outside perspective on this mess. Have we unknowingly been unfair to Rebecca and her children? Should we have made more of an effort to include them in our family? Or are we right to feel betrayed and manipulated? Any advice on how to navigate this difficult situation would be greatly appreciated. Update 1. It's been 2 weeks since my last post, and I want to thank everyone for their supportive comments and advice. It's been a comfort to know that many of you agree that we're not in the wrong here. Unfortunately, things have only gotten worse, and I felt the need to update you all on the situation. Michael has been staying with us along with Lily and Ethan. He took an extended leave from work to deal with this family crisis, which I know wasn't an easy decision for him. Michael has always been dedicated to his job, often working long hours to provide for his family. Seeing him put his career on hold like this really drives home how serious the situation has become. He's been trying to work things out with Rebecca, but she's not budging on her demands. She's still insisting that we either include her children in our will or she'll make sure we never see Lily and Ethan again. It's clear now that this was never about what Michael wanted, but entirely Rebecca's idea. The stress is taking a visible toll on Michael. He's lost weight, has trouble sleeping, and seems constantly on edge. It breaks our hearts to see him like this. George and I have been doing our best to support him, making his favorite meals and trying to create a calm environment at home, but it's clear that the situation is wearing him down. Lily and Ethan are picking up on the tension too, even though we're all trying our best to shield them from the conflict. Lily, always the more sensitive of the two, has been quiet and withdrawn lately. Ethan, on the other hand, has been acting out at school, something that's never happened before. We've had to attend a parent-teacher conference to discuss his behavior, which only added to Michael's stress. Rebecca has escalated her tactics. She's been calling and texting Michael nonstop, alternating between guilt-tripping him and making more threats. She's even started spreading rumors among their mutual friends that we're trying to break up their marriage because we never accepted her or her children. This couldn't be further from the truth, but it's causing Michael a lot of distress. He's always valued his friendships, and the thought of losing them over this is really bothering him. What's even more concerning is that Rebecca has started involving her children in this mess. According to Michael, she's been telling Adam and Sophie that we don't love them and don't want them to be part of our family. It's a cruel thing to do to young children, and it makes us worry about the kind of emotional manipulation she might be capable of. George and I are furious at Rebecca's behavior, but we're trying to stay calm for Michael's sake. We've suggested that he speak to a lawyer to understand his options, especially regarding custody of Lily and Ethan. We're worried that Rebecca might try to use them as pawns in this power play, given her earlier threats. Michael is starting to realize that his marriage might not be salvageable. He confided in us that he's been blind to a lot of Rebecca's manipulative behavior in the past, always making excuses for her or giving in to keep the peace. This situation has opened his eyes to her true nature. He shared a story from early in their relationship that now seems like a red flag. Apparently, Rebecca had pressured him into buying an expensive car they couldn't really afford, insisting that it was necessary to keep up appearances in their neighborhood. Michael had given in to avoid an argument, but it had put a strain on their finances for months. Looking back, he sees it as the beginning of a pattern of manipulation that he'd been too love-struck to notice. We're doing our best to support Michael and the kids through this difficult time. We've made it clear that our home is always open to them, no matter what happens. We've set up the guest room for Michael and made space in the study for the kids to do their homework. It's a tight squeeze, but we're making it work. We're also looking into family counseling options to help Lily and Ethan cope with the stress of potentially another family breakdown. They're still dealing with the loss of their mother, and the thought of them going through another major upheaval breaks our hearts. As for our will, we haven't changed a thing and don't plan to. Rebecca's actions have only reinforced our decision to keep our assets within our immediate family. We're even considering setting up a trust for Lily and Ethan to ensure their future is secure, regardless of what happens between Michael and Rebecca. George and I have been having long talks about how we got to this point. We can't help but wonder if we could have done something differently. Should we have been more welcoming to Rebecca and her children? Did we unknowingly make them feel like outsiders? But then we remember all the times we invited them to family dinners, all the birthdays we celebrated together, all the efforts we made to include them in our lives. It's hard not to feel like no matter what we did, it would never have been enough for Rebecca. This whole situation has made us reflect on our own marriage and the values we've tried to instill in our family. We've always believed in honesty, integrity, and putting family first. Seeing Rebecca's actions has only strengthened our resolve to stand by these principles. I'll keep you all updated as the situation develops. Thank you again for your support and advice. It means more than you know during this difficult time. Update 2. It's been another week, and things have finally come to a head. Michael has decided to file for divorce from Rebecca. He reached this decision after discovering that Rebecca had been planning this manipulation for months, even before their wedding. It all started when Michael decided to go through some old files on their shared home computer. He was looking for some tax documents when he stumbled upon a folder of Rebecca's emails. Normally, he would have respected her privacy, but a subject line caught his eye: plan to secure the inheritance. As he read through the emails, Michael's world turned upside down. It turns out that Rebecca had been snooping through his personal documents and found information about our family's assets. She saw an opportunity to secure a financial future for her children and started plotting how to get them included in our will. The emails dated back to even before their wedding. Rebecca had been seeking advice from friends on how to manipulate the situation. She had outlined her plan to first establish herself as a loving wife and stepmother, then gradually introduce the idea of including her children in our will. If that didn't work, she had backup plans that included emotional manipulation and even threats. When Michael confronted her with this evidence, Rebecca didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she became furious that he had invaded her privacy by reading her emails. She then gave him an ultimatum: either he convince us to change our will, or she would make the divorce as messy and painful as possible. That was the last straw for Michael. He packed up his and the kids' essential belongings and moved them all into our house permanently. He's already spoken to a lawyer and started the divorce proceedings. We're all still in shock over how quickly everything has unraveled. Lily and Ethan are understandably upset and confused. This is the second time they're going through a major family upheaval, and it's taking its toll. Lily has become even more withdrawn, often spending hours alone in her room. Ethan, on the other hand, has been having nightmares and has started to show signs of separation anxiety, not wanting Michael to leave his sight. We're doing our best to provide a stable and loving environment for them, but we know it will take time for them to adjust to yet another major change in their lives. We've set up a routine to give them some sense of normalcy: family dinners every night, helping them with homework, and weekend outings to the park or movies. As for Rebecca, she's been alternating between sending angry messages and pleading for Michael to come back. She's threatened to fight for custody of Lily and Ethan, even though she has no legal right to them. Michael's lawyer assured us that her threats are baseless, but it's still causing a lot of stress. George and I are fully supporting Michael through this process. We're helping with the kids, providing emotional support, and covering his legal fees. We've made it clear to him that he and the kids can stay with us for as long as they need. Our house is a bit crowded now, but we're looking at it as an opportunity to spend more quality time with our family. This whole ordeal has brought our family closer together. We're all rallying around Michael and the kids, determined to get through this as a united front. It's not going to be easy, but we're confident that we're doing the right thing. By standing our ground against Rebecca's manipulative tactics, Michael has started opening up more about his relationship with Rebecca. He shared that there were signs of her controlling behavior early on, but he had dismissed them, chalking it up to her being passionate or particular. He regrets not seeing these red flags for what they were, but we've assured him that hindsight is 20/20 and that he shouldn't blame himself. We've also had some difficult conversations about Amanda, Michael's late first wife. Lily and Ethan have been asking more questions about their mother, perhaps seeking comfort in memories of a happier time. It's bittersweet, but we've been sharing stories and looking at old photo albums together. We want the kids to know that it's okay to talk about Amanda and to miss her. I'll post another update when there are significant developments in the divorce proceedings. Thank you all for your continued support and advice. It's been a source of strength for our family during this challenging time. Update 3. It's been a month since my last update, and I wanted to share the latest developments in our family situation. The divorce proceedings between Michael and Rebecca are well underway, and it's been a challenging time for everyone involved. Rebecca, true to her word, is trying to make the divorce as difficult as possible. She's contesting everything, from the division of assets to the custody arrangement for Lily and Ethan. Even though she has no legal claim to the children, she's arguing that she's been a mother figure to them and should be granted visitation rights. It's a stressful situation, but Michael is standing firm in his resolve to protect his children. Fortunately, Michael's lawyer is experienced and has been handling the situation expertly. They've gathered substantial evidence of Rebecca's manipulative behavior, including the emails where she discussed her plans to get her children included in our will. This has significantly strengthened Michael's case. Lily and Ethan have been struggling with the situation, but they're showing remarkable resilience. We've enrolled them in counseling to help them process their emotions and the changes in their lives. It seems to be helping, as they're slowly opening up more about their feelings. Lily has started keeping a journal, which her therapist says is a healthy way for her to express herself. Ethan has joined a youth sports team, which has been great for channeling his energy and emotions. As for Michael, he's doing better now that he's taken decisive action. The stress of the divorce proceedings is still taking its toll, but he's no longer torn between his loyalty to us and his misplaced love for Rebecca. He's focused on protecting his children and rebuilding his life. We've seen glimpses of the old Michael returning. He even cracked a joke the other day, something we haven't heard in months. George and I have been doing everything we can to support our family through this ordeal. We've been taking care of the kids when Michael has to attend meetings with his lawyer or court hearings. We've also been helping Michael look for a new place to live, as he feels it's important to establish a new home for himself and the kids once the divorce is finalized. One positive outcome of this situation is that it's brought our family closer together. We're spending more quality time with Michael and our grandchildren, creating new traditions and happy memories amidst the chaos. We've started having weekly game nights, which have become a favorite for all of us. It's heartwarming to see Lily and Ethan laughing and just being kids again during these times. We've also taken steps to protect our assets and ensure Lily and Ethan's future security. Our lawyer has helped us set up a trust for the children that will be protected even if Rebecca somehow manages to contest our will in the future. It gives us peace of mind knowing that regardless of what happens, our grandchildren's futures are secure. Rebecca's children, Adam and Sophie, have been caught in the middle of this mess. We feel for them, as they're innocent in all of this. Michael has expressed concern about their well-being, knowing firsthand how difficult it is for children to go through a divorce. He's considering reaching out to Rebecca's ex-husband to ensure the children are being properly cared for during this tumultuous time. As difficult as this experience has been, we're cautiously optimistic about the future. We know there are still challenges ahead, particularly as the divorce proceedings continue, but we're facing them as a united family. Michael has started talking about future plans again, considering a career change he's always dreamed of, and even mentioning the possibility of dating again someday, though that's still far off. Lily and Ethan are slowly adjusting to their new normal. They've been spending more time with their friends, which has been good for them. Lily's even talking about joining the school drama club next year, something she was always too shy to do before. Ethan's grades, which had slipped during the initial chaos, are starting to improve again. As for George and me, this experience has reinforced the strength of our own relationship. We've been each other's rock throughout this ordeal, and I'm more grateful than ever for his steady presence and unwavering support.